Hi, this is Stephen King. I was asked to record the introduction to this slim book and have agreed to do it because, unlike some of the intros I've written, it actually has something to say. So here it is. This story should never have existed, at least not in the form it finally took. That it has become a movie, a most excellent movie, in my humble opinion, is even more unlikely. And yet, here we are. Life can be full of nasty surprises, as most of us know, but as most of us also know, every now and then something good happens. I'm tempted to say it's the good things that make all the crap worthwhile, but the jury's still out on that one. All I can do is tell you how this particular good thing happened. It's up to you to figure out the rest. Watching the film, especially the transcendent last few minutes, may help you in that regard. Stories come when they will. You just have to be open to their arrival. One day on my morning walk, I was musing on an African proverb that says, when an old man dies, a library burns down. I might have been thinking about that particular proverb because I'm getting on in years myself. The proverb led me to think about Walt Whitman's Song of Myself, where he says, I am large, I contain multitudes. I thought to myself, what if it isn't a library that burns when a man dies? What if it's the whole world, his world? I like the idea enough to write a short story called The Life of Chuck, which was about the entire world, hell, the entire universe, slowly going down the tubes because the man who perceived it, one Charles Krantz, was dying of a brain tumor. That was all. Story done, over and out. I put it in a drawer thinking I'd rewrite it later on. Fast forward a month or so. I'm in Boston for a couple of Red Sox games, staying at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, which my kids persist in calling the Mandarin Orange. Across the street, outside the drugstore, a young man is beating on a couple of overturned plastic buckets, your basic busker, in other words, with an upturned hat in front of him for contributions. This time I thought, what if some random Mr. Businessman stopped and began to jive? And what if he actually began to dance? Then a real inspiration, the kind of thing a writer lives for. And what if that guy was Chuck Krantz with his brain tumor just beginning to announce itself? That was too cool not to write because it was about the joy of life in the shadow of death. It never occurred to me that there might be a third story, but I did like the way Chuck's life went backward from his death to his final months as a healthy man. I began to play with the idea of a final act, which eventually turned out to be Act One, with Chuck as a kid learning to dance and discovering the rather unpleasant secret in his grandpa's cupola. I wanted Chuck to know he was going to die because, dig it, we all do know, don't we? We just kind of pretend the elephant in the room is a big gray sofa. In the end, I had three loosely connected stories. I had to smooth them out and whittle them a bit here and there to make the fit a little tighter, but they finally came together. Luckily for me, Mike Flanagan wrote a script that turned the story's funky back to front format into a virtue and made it as an indie film at a time when few films were being made due to COVID and multiple strikes by film and television creators. Mike was able to thread the needle on that one because the screenplay was written pre-strike and the film itself bypassed the major Hollywood studios. In short, dear reader, it was a miracle that the story got written, a double miracle that such a strange piece of work should become a film, and a triple miracle that the film is such a splendid little gem. Enjoy. Stephen King, March 30th, 2024.